Good Sunday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dudes and dudettes. How you doing? I am Kendrick, the sports guy with TFG Sports Media, and you know what time it is. It's time to chat sports, and this is my Sunday sports show. We're here on TFG Sports Media. We're gonna talk. We're gonna give you 30 minutes of the best sports talk on social media. Again, I hope everybody is having a great Sunday, and guess what? It is Father's Day. So this is a special Father's Day edition show. We're going to do a little something different. We're going to be talking about fathers and sons in the sports, and the sons that follow in their father's footsteps. That is going to be our show topics today. So we're going to sit back and talk about that. So kick back, make sure you relax, get you some popcorn, get your favorite drink, whatever. I hope all the fathers are having a great day. Whatever you call him, do you call him dad, daddy, pops, papa, father, whatever? I want to wish all the men out there a happy Father's Day, but make sure you come in and check this out. Now, let's get the house rules out the way. Make sure you come in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's TFG Sports Media. You see scrolling in the ticker, as well as Kendrick Sports Hustle. Comment. Let me know where you're watching from, and we just gonna have a conversation. We're gonna be talking about father-sons combination, father-sons and sons following in their father's footsteps. Also, there is on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a little button, a little $sign or a little thank you button. That is if you want to contribute to this channel financially. You're not obligated. I just want to say I'm still building this platform. So if you feel in your heart, I am a father too. If you want to donate to the channel, donate to me for Father's Day, it will be greatly accepted, and it'll go right back into investing in myself in this channel. Also, you can hit my Cash App, which is shown right there. That's $ 1969 Kendrick. So I want to get that out the way. So again, make sure you come in. Don't be in the bushes. I know a lot of times on social media, people be watching on YouTube and on Facebook, but they won't comment. They may like it, but they won't comment and let you know they're watching. So y'all come on out them bushes. I see you. I'm a security guard with my flashlight. I see you. Come on out of there. Come on out of there and comment so we can chat a little bit. Again, this is a special Father's Day edition of TFG Sports Media. So let's get right down to it. We're going to jump right into this thing. And if you see me going back and forth, I'm also live on TikTok right now. And I got some people that's already popped in over here on TikTok. Demetrius Finley 7, I appreciate you popping in. Miss Rogerson, I think, thanks for popping in. Arthur Thomas, John Moshenko, Donna Young 296, Emmett Stringer, Rutgers Tuckers. Thanks for you all that's popping in. I hope everyone is having a great Father's Day. So let's talk about sons following in their father's footsteps. Let's talk about one of the families that we probably can call royal when we're talking about football. Let's talk about the Mannings. Daddy Archie Manning, sons Eli and Peyton, as well as Cooper Manning. Even though Cooper didn't play professionally, he followed in his dad's footsteps, and he played at Ole Miss, as well as Eli followed in his dad's footsteps and played his college ball at Ole Miss, whereas Peyton Manning, who's probably, most would say, is probably the best quarterback out of the trio. Cooper Manning didn't play quarterback. He played wide receiver. Peyton went to Tennessee. He was a volunteer. But when you talk about quarterback royalty in the NFL, man, this is the family you go to. Archie Manning played for years for the New Orleans Saints. That team never really did much. He got beat up a whole lot. The question is, what could he have been, but he actually produced 3 sons that all played college football, and 2 of his sons are Super Bowl champs. Matter of fact, they both got 2 Super Bowl rings, Eli and Peyton. So as a father, I'm sure it's real, even though your career may not have went the way you wanted to, you got your 2 sons that came in, and what can you say? Peyton Manning's a Hall of Famer. Eli Manning, will he get in the Hall of Fame? He's on the borderline. I think he probably will eventually get in. But to produce 2 quarterbacks in the NFL, starting quarterbacks, that is, and for them to win 4 Super Bowls between the both of them, I think as a father, Archie Manning is probably saying, you know what, life is good. Even though my career may not have been what I wanted to, but my sons, including Cooper had some injuries in college, so that's cut his career short. But you know, you think about his two sons and what they've done on the field. I mean, granted, I think it's those stories that a father can be like, you know what, life is good. Life is good. And you know, Archie Manning, he came across as kind of the father that didn't, he wasn't trying to butt in a lot, but what he actually did butt in with Eli, because you know, you remember that draft. They basically said that we not if San Diego draft us, we ain't coming. So Eli had a hand in that. San Diego eventually drafted him, but they made a same day trade, and he ended up being traded to the Giants, and now the rest is history. So, but Archie Manning seemed like the type of pops that I mean, he wasn't one of those annoying fathers because we know we've seen some of those. We've known some of those that can be somewhat annoying that kind of take some of the shine off their sons and is placed all on them. But Archie Manning, again, he's produced one Hall of Famer, possibly a second Hall of Famer, and I don't think that's ever been done in the NFL. I don't think there's been two Hall of Fame brothers, two brothers in the Hall of Fame. I don't think that's ever been done. I could be wrong, but that could possibly happen. So you know, salute to Archie Manning, to Peyton, to Eli, to Cooper, and now they, you know, a third generation may be stepping in the game. Arch Manning, who is the son of Cooper, is a quarterback at the University of Texas. And, you know, most likely he probably would end up in the NFL as well. So you're talking about three generations of quarterbacks. And yeah, like I said, the NFL, that's a feat in itself. And speaking of NFL, we got a whole bunch of other father-son combinations. I was just thinking out the top of my head, the Matthews. You got Clay Matthews, who played linebacker for the Packers. His uncle Bruce Matthews was a offensive lineman for the Houston Oilers. His dad, Clay Matthews Sr., I believe, he would play for the Browns. So the Matthews family as well is synonymous with NFL. Then, you know, we got some up-and-comers that's coming in. Just this past draft, we had a couple of sons that were drafted. Jerry Rice's son was drafted by the Chargers, I believe. Frank Gore Jr. was drafted as well. So we got a couple of sons that's going to be, you know, trying to follow in their father's footsteps, and there's many more. But again, when you talk about the NFL, you talk about the Mannings and the two quarterbacks. So salute to the father, that this father-son combination, sons following in their father's footsteps. Now let's move on to baseball. Let's talk about the Bonds, Barry and Bobby Bonds. Bobby Bonds, who is the late Bobby Bonds, by the way, who's the father of Barry Bonds. This father-son combination, they hold the record for combined 8 home runs, most home runs, most RBIs, and stolen bases as a father-son combination. Barry Bonds Sr., you know, unfortunately, he passed away in 2003, I think at the age of like 57 from lung cancer and some other things. But he and his son, you talk about the MLB baseball combination. You know, his Barry Bonds, all-time home run leader. He did his thing with Pittsburgh and then eventually moving to San Francisco. He and his father were able to play together for a brief second. And that's a beautiful thing. So the Bond, and a lot of times, a lot of people don't talk about the Bonds, this father-son duo, but they was the first father-son tandem. Matter of fact, Bobby Bonds was the first, I believe, MLB player to have 30 stolen bases and 30 home runs in the same season. And his son Barry would do that as well. They also there's an oldest brother, Bobby Bonds Jr., who played baseball, but he never made it to the MLB. He just kind of, you know, on the other level, so AAA and AA level, minor league level. So he never made it to the MLB. But the Bonds, you know, the Bonds father-son combination. You can say what you want about Barry. though, people were talking about the asterisk, because of the home run record, because of the insinuation of steroid use. Nothing's been confirmed, and I would probably say Barry Bonds would say that his dad, it was probably it's been one of his biggest fans. It was his biggest supporter. Speaking of which, Barry Bonds has some other support. His godfather, by the way, is Hall of Famer Willie Mays, if you didn't know that. So he had some father figures outside of his own pops. Bobby Bonds, Barry did. So the father-son combination of the Bonds, that is dope. And I think as a father, you always would like to see your son follow in your footsteps. But you also don't want them to be pressured into feeling like they have to do that. So a lot of times, some fathers will steer them that way and put a lot of pressure on them. One father that puts a lot of that I just thought about, Todd Marinovich. If y'all remember Todd Marinovich, big time high school quarterback, highly recruited, went to USC. His dad was like a drill sergeant, trying to get him, ready to be an NFL caliber quarterback. His career in the NFL didn't go well. He ended up, getting on drugs and this and that, and just a sad, sad story as far as Marinovich. But you got some fathers that did that. I think of, and I should have included him too, Tiger Woods and his late father, Earl Woods. Earl Woods was made sure that he put Tiger in the position to be probably not, if not the one of the greatest golfers ever, ever. So that's a beautiful thing. So fathers, you got to walk this fine line between, are you really trying to live out your own athletic dreams through your son because maybe you didn't get to that point? Or do you just want to be there and support them and help them get to whatever their athletic dreams are? And that's why it's so important to have those fathers in their sons' lives. So from what I've read, Bobby Bonds was Barry's biggest supporter, and he supported him through everything. And Barry Bonds, who's to say, will he get in the Hall of Fame? I think eventually he will. But I think at this point, Barry Bonds could care less about that. But I do know that the tie between him and his dad was a close one again. So we want to salute this father-son combination again. Barry Bonds and his late father, Bobby Bonds Sr., who passed away in 2003 from complications from lung cancer. So let's move on to another baseball father-son combination. This is probably the one most people talk about. Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. Now, they actually were on the same team as well. Eventually, later on in his career, Ken Griffey Sr. Jr. would play with his dad in Seattle briefly. And what can you say about this combination? Ken Griffey Sr., he played with the Reds as well. And Ken Griffey Jr. played with the Reds too. And I think when you talk about left-handed hitters, outfielders, Ken Griffey Jr., he's definitely out. He's up there. He's one of the greats. He's one of the greats to ever do it. There's never been any type of news about him, taking illegal anything. But his dad, again, one of his biggest fans, one of his biggest supporters, and they both played the game at a high level. Ken Griffey Sr. was a very, very solid, very good baseball player. I'm sure he would probably say that Junior was a lot better than him. Junior definitely is a Hall of Famer. And Ken Griffey Sr. wasn't no slouch either in baseball. But to have your son to get him to fall in love with the game that you fell in love with, that's a beautiful thing. I think any father would want this again. This the theme of this show. Father, sons, and sports. I think any father would want their child, their son, to follow in their footsteps. Now, especially in the sports rise. Now, again, it's a fine line about trying to pressure them into being something that they're not. Obviously, sometimes your child is not going to be as athletically gifted as the father, and we've seen that as well. We could talk about that too. Come to mind, my guy, my GOAT. He's my GOAT. I ain't no debate about it. In Michael Jordan. His Marcus Jordan wasn't Pops, neither one of his sons. And I think MJ, he came to grips with that. And I think his sons did as well. But these two, again, Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr., I think that's baseball royalty when you talk about father-son's combination at the MLB level. Again, here on TikTok, make sure you tap that screen. Make sure you share this live to your page as well. Here on Facebook, YouTube, make sure you share this to all your social media platforms. So we're giving fathers some love today. Our Father's Day edition show. We're talking strictly fathers, sons, and sports. Again, I know there's some other things going on. We got the NBA Finals. Game 5 will tip off tomorrow. The Mavericks are still alive. They got the big win on Friday night. So that tips off on Monday night. Then we had the big fight last night between Javante Tank Davis and Frank Martin. Javante Tank Davis took him out in the 8th round. He retains his junior welterweight title, I believe, Javante Tank Davis. So we got that going on. We also had the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever were playing today. The Fever got the win at home. Some more controversy. Some Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, some sort of foul. It was a flagrant, in my opinion. So that's going to be the talk. But again, we talking about fathers today, father-son combination in sports. I just want to give a little love on that. So let's move on to another father-son combination. Boxing. Let's go to Money Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather Jr. and his dad, Floyd Mayweather Sr. Floyd Mayweather Sr., if you didn't know, he boxed from 1973 to 1990. He was a welterweight. He fought against Sugar Ray Leonard. He lost the fight against him, but he was 28-6-1 as a professional with 18 KOs. And he was his son's trainer for a long time. Then they eventually decided to go their separate ways. But we all know Floyd Mayweather Sr. has been a big supporter of his son, Money Mayweather, as well as his uncle, Roger Mayweather, who eventually became Floyd Mayweather's trainer. Now, they are odd couple. You know, they are odd couple. But, you know, what can you say? Floyd Money Mayweather, he's undefeated. He retired as a boxer undefeated. But he was able to continue the path that his father set. Now, all the things I read about Floyd Mayweather Sr. was he was a great defensive boxer. He was very good, ring savvy, and defense was his game. And if you watch his son, that was something that he taught Floyd Mayweather Jr. So these two, their relationship was somewhat rocky, but I think you're going to run into that. And I think about another father-son combination that was somewhat rocky too. That's Roy Jones Jr. and his dad. I remember I was reading about how Roy Jones Jr. and his dad kind of had a rocky relationship because his dad was his trainer as well. And so sometimes they would try to put all this pressure on their sons to be something that maybe that they ain't ready for yet. And so as a father, I think that is a fine line again. And I'm gonna keep repeating this through this live stream. As a father, you do have to walk a fine line when it comes to that. Are you really trying to live out your dreams because maybe you weren't as successful at that profession as you want to be, and your son may be a little bit more talented, and so you feel like you got to push them more? But then too, on the flip side of that pushing them more also can be a good thing too, because no one knows their child more so than their father. Their father knows what buttons to push, what makes them tick. So that can be a good thing too. So Floyd Mayweather Sr. and Floyd Mayweather Jr., I had to bring them up. And I know a lot of people don't like Floyd Mayweather Jr. because of his antics and because of some of the things he's done. You know, he can be somewhat of a show off, this and that. But at the end of the day, you know, his pops is his biggest supporter. So, and I think that's probably a lot of times when you think about these athletes, these sons that follow in their father's footsteps, they already know they're going to have the noise from outside. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to dislike maybe, you know, what they do. But at the end of the day, when you know that you got your pops in your corner, no pun intended, for boxing, then I think that makes it a lot easier for you to make your moves and move around. So I had to give a shout out to Floyd Mayweather Sr. and Floyd Mayweather Jr., another father-son combination. Again, there's many more, and I was just going off the top of my head. There, if you can think of any, you can put them in the comments. Any other father-son combination, sons following their sons' footsteps that you think of. There's many more out there to aspire to be the best that they can be at the sport that they probably fell in love with, that their fathers actually put the balls or the bats or the glove or the boxing gloves. They the first person to put it in their hands to make them fall in love with it. So I want to give a shout out to Floyd Mayweather Sr. and Floyd Mayweather Jr. And so we're gonna getting close to the last, and I gotta have to talk about this relationship because this is one that was kind of we really didn't know. It was kind of rocky. The late great Kobe Bean Bryant and his father, Joe Bryant, who played for the Philadelphia 76ers, who also played a lot of his professional career overseas. And that's where Kobe grew up earlier in his career because Kobe could speak fluent Italian. And so they would eventually come back to the States. Kobe would end up finishing school in Philly. Obviously, you know his story, but the relationship with his dad, it was a complicated one from what I read. I believe that Kobe. Obviously Joe loved his son, obviously, but toward the tail end, you know, that from some stories that they weren't speaking, and that breaks my heart, you know, especially when your son follows in your footsteps. You know, I was reading some things Kobe said that he remember growing up, balling up socks, shooting them through a hanger, and watching his dad play. And that's all he ever wanted to be was, you know, he wanted the ball. And I'm sure Joe was proud of his son Kobe. Uh, but again, this was one of those relationships where sometimes the father's son it can hit some speed bumps. You know, and we've seen that in other father-son relationships. But on this picture that I'm showing here, I wanted to show this specifically for today, with it being Father's Day, because at the end of the day, I think most sons they just want their father to be proud of them at the end of the day. And this picture that's being shown on YouTube and Facebook, I think this is the essence of a father-son relationship. You want to be able to hug your dad, and you want to be able to love on your pops, and your pops just want to be able to love on you and just sit back and say, you know what, that's my boy. That's my boy. So you know, Kobe and Joe's relationship, again, I don't know the ins and outs of it. Nobody really does. All we know is what was written. We do know, you know, Kobe and his parents did it toward, you know, there was some issues that they had, some legal things going on. And that can definitely put a strain and put a wedge in your relationship. You know, the untimely death of Kobe and his daughter and those 7 other people in 2020. I know that's I can't put into words. I'm the father. I'm a father of 3. I have 2 grown sons and a grown daughter. And to bury your child, you know, I think that's the hardest thing for any parent to have to do. And then specifically, again, we do know that the relationship with Kobe and his parents was somewhat fractured. So I don't know if they were able to make amends. But this one, you know, again, this is one of the other parts of the father-son relationship. You know, I think about LeVar Ball and his sons. You know, a lot of people gave him flack on how he was doing things. I'll be saying I thought LeVar was a little bit too much, speaking a little bit too much loud for me. But then I think about it, I'm like, who's gonna have your better interest than the father? And I get it. As a father of his 3 sons, he was just doing the best that he was doing what he thought was best when it comes to protecting his sons. I'm speaking of LeVar Ball, and I think I can say that for any of these fathers out here that I talked about on here as well. Archie Manning, Bobby Bonds, Ken Griffey Sr., Floyd Mayweather Sr., and as well as Joe Jellybean Bryant. I'm sure that they, at the end of the day, all they wanted to do was what's best for their sons and be there and protect them. So again, sons following in their father's footsteps. This has been a special Father's Day edition show on TFG Sports Media. Make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this, share it to all your social media platforms. Give me a comment as well if you watch this later about some other father-sons combinations, about your relationship with your father. I would like to know that too here on TikTok as well. Renee Jones, Proud Mama 525, Luther Jordan, all that's watching. Give me some memorable comments about your fathers as well, and what makes your father special. Again, Father's Day, it's a little bit different. A lot of times fathers don't get all the attention and love, but fathers are very important in when it comes to their children's growth and development. And I can say that. And so here's my freestyle moment, and I want to speak to the fathers. Again, I'm the father of three. I have a 31-year-old son, I have a 29-year-old daughter, and I have a 27-year-old son. And there was no roadmap. There was no roadmap for me. I did not know, because I didn't have a father. So trying to figure out this fatherhood thing was tough. And I also had some trauma, some damage. I had daddy issues, and that's one thing I also want to speak about to my men, because a lot of us have daddy issues. And I think when we bring children into this world, we really need to make sure we get those issues resolved. Whatever trauma you had, go to therapy, whatever, because you want to make sure that you full as a father to pour into your children so they can grow up to be healthy and healthy adults and have a healthy relationship with you. Again, I can be transparent. I didn't realize how bad my daddy issues was until my mother passed away in 2005. And just thinking back on my children when they were younger, there were some things that I could have done better, far as showing them the affection and love. You know what I'm saying? I love my children. I showed them attention, but I didn't give them the love that I think the nurturing love that they needed from their father, because that was something that I had issues with because I didn't have it. And don't have no regrets. Fathers, if you got some issues, you got some trauma, again, dealing with daddy issues, because I think a lot of black men, we deal with that. Seek help, go to therapy, seek help, so you can be a better father for your children, so you can pour into them. And it's never too late. It's never too late. As long as you still breathing, you still above ground, it's never too late to fix that. And my last thought before I get out of here, our presence is needed. Our presence, our PRESCENCE, is more important than presence, PRESENTS. Somebody gonna get that later. Remember, fathers, your presence, PRESCENCE, is more important than your presence, PRESENTS. Hopefully that'll help somebody. Hopefully we can become better fathers, and then in turn we push out and we create and we help our sons to be better fathers for their children. That's all we want. So again, that was my freestyle moment for today's show. So again, if you watch this later, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That is TFG Sports Media on YouTube, as well as Kendrick Sports Hustle, SporTZ HUSTLE. And make sure you like and follow them as well on Facebook. You can also follow me on Instagram at Kendrick1969, and you can also follow me on TikTok, Kendrick Henderson 51. So again, this has been TFG Sports Media special Father's Day edition show. I hope all the fathers, y'all got love. I hope they ain't put y'all to work. Hope you ain't been grilling. Hope somebody been grilling for you. I hope you been able to do whatever you love to do. Hope you've been showing love by your family and your loved ones. And enjoy the rest of your day. I know Monday is right around the corner. It's a whole new week. But again, I just want to send out a special happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, to let you know that you are appreciated. So again, I am Kendrick, the sports guy with TFG Sports Media. You can catch me here live every Sunday at 4 p.m. Again, make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. Again, you guys enjoy the rest of your Father's Day. We will see you on the other side. And on the next report, I am out. Peace.